February 28, 1943. Arumbau 4 hours. Vemork, Norway. 60 seconds until explosion. Birger Strömsheim stood in the doorway, stared back into the heavy water production room. His glasses were in there, somewhere, on a table, near the pipes. Near 9 kilograms of plastic explosive set to detonate in 60 seconds. "Leave them," someone hissed behind him. "We have to go. I'm blind past 5 meters without them. I'll walk off a cliff or into a German patrol. I'm dead either way." 55 seconds. "Then you're dead here. Move." Strömsheim didn't move. 26 years old, expert skier, nearly blind. Those glasses had kept him alive through 3 months in Norwegian mountains, through -40 temperatures, through German patrols, through 200 miles of winter hell. Without them, he wouldn't make it 10 kilometers. He turned, ran back into the room, disappeared into the maze of industrial pipes. 50 seconds until explosion. This is the story of how 11 Norwegian commandos stopped Adolf Hitler from getting the atomic bomb, and how one man's forgotten glasses almost ruined everything. 72 hours earlier, the mission nobody could survive. February 25, 1943, London, England. Colonel Leif Tronstad stood before a map of Norway, pointed to a spot in the Telemark region, Vemork Heavy Water Plant, the only facility in the world producing heavy water in industrial quantities, the substance Germany needed to build an atomic bomb. 6 Norwegian commandos sat listening. They'd volunteered for a mission nobody had explained yet. Now they were about to understand why. "Heavy water," Tronstad said, "the only substance that can moderate a nuclear chain reaction. Germany is shipping it to research facilities. If they get enough, they build a reactor. The reactor produces plutonium. Plutonium builds a bomb." He paused. "Let that sink in. One bomb, 20,000 tons of explosive force, destroys London, Paris, any city in the world." The room was silent. "Vemork produces 3,000 kilograms per year. The Germans have been stockpiling since 1940. We estimate they have enough for a reactor by mid-1944, a weapon by late 1944. Joachim Runneberg, the team leader, studied the map. 23 years old, chemical engineering student. He understood exactly what Tronstad was describing: nuclear fission, chain reactions, critical mass. He'd studied this at university before the war. "What's the mission?" Runneberg asked. "Destroy the heavy water cells, all 18 of them, stop production, set their program back years." "What about the last attempt?" The room went cold. Everyone knew about the last attempt. 4 months earlier, Operation Freshman, November 19, 1942, 23:47 hours, over Norway. 2 Halifax bombers, each towing a glider. Inside the gliders, 39 British soldiers, combat engineers, 1st Airborne Division, trained in demolitions, equipped with explosives. Mission: destroy Vemork. The weather was hell, freezing rain, heavy clouds, no visibility. The bombers navigated by dead reckoning, no radio navigation. German jamming everywhere. Inside the first glider, Sergeant Thomas Clayton checked his equipment, explosives, detonators, maps. Everyone was ready. They'd trained for 3 weeks, practiced the assault, memorized the plant layout. This was routine. Except nothing about flying blind into Norway in November was routine. The tow rope snapped. One moment they were flying, attached, safe. The next moment, free fall. The glider dropped. Pilot fought for control, couldn't see the ground, couldn't see mountains, couldn't see anything. Just white, everywhere white. The mountain appeared out of nowhere. Impact at 200 kilometers per hour, metal screaming, bodies breaking, fire. The glider disintegrated. 17 men died instantly. The ones who survived wished they hadn't. The second glider's pilot saw the first one disappear, tried to adjust altitude. Too late. His glider hit a different mountain. Everyone aboard died on impact. 22 men, gone. The survivors from the first crash, 5 men with broken bones and internal injuries huddled in wreckage. Temperature -20. They'd survived the crash. But German patrols were coming. Within 6 hours, Wehrmacht soldiers found them, took them prisoner, interrogated them. Hitler's standing order was clear: all commandos, no prisoners, no Geneva Convention. The 5 survivors were tortured for information, then shot. Bodies dumped in unmarked graves. 39 men, all dead. Mission failed. Security at Vemork increased. The Germans now knew someone wanted to attack their heavy water. Back to the briefing. Tronstad's voice was flat, professional, hiding emotion. Operation Freshman failed because the British used gliders and airborne assault. We're not doing that. You're parachuting in, linking up with advanced team that's been on the ground since October, approaching the facility on foot, on skis like Norwegians. He pointed to the map. The grouse team has been living in the mountains for 3 months. 4 men: Jens Anton Poulsen, Knut Haugelid, Klaus Hellberg, Arne Kjellstrup. They've survived on moss and whatever they could hunt. They have detailed intelligence on Vemork. You link up with them. Combined 11-man team raids the facility. Runeberg studied the terrain. Vemork sat on a cliff edge. 600-foot drop to the Mona River below. 1 bridge across the gorge. The bridge was guarded. Minefields surrounded the facility. 300 German soldiers in the area. What's the approach? That's your decision. The grouse team will brief you on options when you link up. Escape route: Sweden, 400 kilometers, on foot through occupied territory in winter. Nobody spoke. 400 kilometers through German-occupied Norway in February, temperatures dropping to -40, patrols everywhere, no resupply, no backup. Odds of success, someone asked. Tronstad didn't lie. Maybe 50%. Odds of survival, even if you succeed, maybe 30%. He handed out small capsules. Cyanide. Quick death if captured. Better than German interrogation. Better than what happened to the freshman survivors. If you succeed, Tronstad said quietly, this mission will be remembered for 100 years. If you fail, nobody will ever know you tried. The team: 6 men, all Norwegian, all volunteers. Joachim Runeberg, team leader, age 23, chemical engineer, calm, methodical. He'd studied explosives at university, knew exactly where to place charges to destroy equipment without killing people. Frederick Kaiser, demolitions expert, age 27, trained with British SOE, could build a bomb from household items. Knut Haugelid, already in Norway with the grouse team, skier, fighter, had been living in a snow cave since October. Kasper Eidland, radio operator, age 25, could transmit Morse code in the middle of a firefight. Hans Storhaug, weapons specialist, age 24, dead shot with a rifle, could hit targets at 500 meters in a blizzard. Birger Stremsheim, age 26, expert skier, nearly blind without his thick glasses. He cleaned them constantly, 5 times a day, obsessively. The team joked about it. Birger loves those glasses more than his rifle. They didn't know those glasses would almost ruin everything. The jump, February 16, 1943, 23:45 hours, over Hardanger Vidda Plateau, Halifax bomber flying low, under German radar, 6 commandos sitting in darkness, 40 kilograms of equipment each, skis, weapons, explosives, white winter camouflage. The jump light turned green. Runeberg stepped into darkness. Parachute deployed. Wind tore at him. Snow everywhere. Couldn't see ground. Just white. Then impact. Snow up to his waist. Deep, soft, safe. The others landed nearby. All accounted for. Nobody injured. But they were off target. 12 miles from the planned drop zone. Between them and the grouse team. Mountains, valleys, German patrols. 12 miles might as well be 100 in these conditions. They skied through darkness, temperature -30, wind cutting through layers. Strumsheim cleaned his glasses every 30 minutes. Ice kept forming on the lenses. Without clear vision, he couldn't navigate, couldn't see terrain features, couldn't spot crevasses. 5 days of skiing, 150 kilometers across the Hardangervidda Plateau, the coldest, most desolate region in Norway. Nothing but white wasteland in every direction. The grouse team, February 21st, 1943. They found the grouse base in a snow cave. 4 men who looked like skeletons. Jens Anton Poulsen's cheeks were hollow, eyes sunken. He'd lost 20 kilograms living on moss and whatever small animals they could trap. "Welcome to paradise," Poulsen said, grinning. 3 months in a snow cave, and he could still joke. The grouse team had intelligence, guard routines, shift changes, patrol patterns. 3 ways to approach Vemork. Option 1, come down from above. Cross the minefields. 1 wrong step meant death and alerting the garrison. Option 2, cross the suspension bridge, the main entrance, guarded 24 hours, floodlit, impossible to cross without being seen. Option 3, descend into the gorge, cross the frozen river, climb 600 feet of cliff on the opposite side, approach from the riverside where defenses were weakest. "The cliff is nearly vertical," Poulsen said. "Ice everywhere. In daylight, it's extremely difficult. In darkness, in winter, with full combat gear, it should be impossible." Runneberg studied the map. "But it's the only approach that gives us surprise." "Yes. Then we climb the cliff." The approach, February 27, 1943. 2,000 hours. 11 men departed the snow cave. Temperature -25. Clear sky, full moon. They could see mountains outlined in silver. Beautiful, deadly. 4 hours to reach the gorge. At midnight they stood at the edge, looked down. 600 feet of cliff dropping into black nothing. Far below, the river, partially frozen, moonlight reflecting off ice. Runneberg went first, found a handhold, tested it. The rock held, moved down, 1 meter, 2 meters, ice everywhere. Every grip was treacherous. Behind him the others descended, slowly, carefully. 1 man slipped, caught himself. Everyone froze, listened for German patrols. Nothing, only wind. Strumsheim descended, despite barely being able to see. His glasses fogged from breath. He wiped them, fogged again immediately. He gave up trying to see, climbed by feel, hands finding holds, feet finding purchase, muscle memory from years of skiing these mountains. 2 hours to descend 600 feet. At the bottom, the river, half frozen, ice thick in places, other places black water flowing fast, water that would kill in 60 seconds. They tested each step. The ice groaned, cracked, held. They crossed. Now the climb. 600 feet straight up the opposite side, in darkness, in -25-degree cold, wearing full combat gear. Runneberg found handholds in ice, tested each one. Some broke free, fell into darkness below. No sound of impact, just gone. He moved up, slowly. The cliff was steeper than the descent side, nearly vertical in places. 1 hour, 2 hours, hands going numb, feet cramping, still climbing. Finally, the top, a railway line. The line served the plant. They'd made it, the impossible climb. All 11 alive. The German guard, 30 hours. Guard post number 4, Vemork perimeter. Hans Meyer stamped his feet, trying to stay warm. Age 19, Wehrmacht, from Hamburg. This was his first posting. Norway, guarding a factory. Nothing ever happened here. Cold, boring, safe. 2 hours until shift change. 2 hours until he could go inside, drink coffee, sleep. He checked his watch. 31 hours. 119 minutes to go. He didn't see 11 Norwegians climbing the cliff 200 meters behind him. Didn't hear them cut through the perimeter fence. Didn't know anything was wrong until the explosion. Inside the plant, 0040 hours. Runneberg and Kaiser crawled through the cable tunnel. The tunnel housed power cables running into the basement. Narrow, dark, they crawled. The tunnel led directly to the heavy water production room. The door was locked. Runneberg had lockpicks, but before he could use them, footsteps inside. A Norwegian worker. Runneberg knocked softly. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then the door opened. A man, maybe 50, stared at two commandos in white camouflage. "We're Norwegian commandos," Runneberg whispered in Norwegian. "Here to destroy the heavy water. When we leave, you run. Get far from this building, understand?" The man nodded. Inside, 18 high concentration cells, 7 feet tall, stainless steel, connected by pipes. Each cell contained heavy water, the substance that could moderate a nuclear reaction, the substance that could give Hitler an atomic bomb. Runneberg placed explosives. He'd practiced this exact task dozens of times in England, knew exactly where to place charges. At the base of each cell, shaped charges connected with detonation cord. Glass shattered behind him. The backup team, Storhaug and Eidland. They'd gotten lost finding the cable tunnel, decided to break a window instead. "You found us," Runneberg said. "No time for explanations. Help me finish." 4 men placing charges, 9 kilograms of plastic explosive. Everything linked to a single timer. Timer set, 90 seconds. Minimum time to escape before detonation. They turned to leave. The glasses Strumsheim stopped, patted his jacket, checked pockets, looked around. "My glasses." 85 seconds. The team stared. "I took them off to see the charges up close. Left them on that table." 80 seconds. "Leave them," Kaiser hissed. "Move now." "I can't see without them. Won't make it 10 kilometers. I'm blind beyond 5 meters. I'll walk off a cliff. Or into a patrol." 75 seconds. Runneberg grabbed his arm. "Then you die here. We can't stop the timer. We go now." Strumsheim pulled free. "I'm going back." 70 seconds. He turned, ran back into the heavy water room, into the maze of pipes and cells, toward 9 kilograms of plastic explosive. 65 seconds. Kaiser was already running toward the exit, the others following. Mission first, training taking over. They had to clear the building. Runneberg stood in the doorway. 60 seconds. He could follow the others, complete the mission, lose 1 man, acceptable casualties, or he could abort, run after Strumsheim, drag him out, die together when the bomb exploded. 55 seconds. He didn't move, stood listening, waiting. What was he waiting for? Strumsheim searching a dark room full of industrial equipment, finding glasses in 55 seconds. Impossible. 50 seconds. Runneberg shouted into the room, "Strumsheim, leave them, get out!" No response. 45 seconds. This was it. The decision point. Stay or go. Die with Strumsheim or complete the mission. Everything they'd done, the jump, the 200-mile ski, the climb, all of it came down to this. 40 seconds. Footsteps, running, getting louder. 38 seconds. Strumsheim burst through the door, holding his glasses, not wearing them, holding them like a trophy, grinning. "Got them! Run!" 35 seconds. They ran, through the cable tunnel, out into the compound, across open ground. 30 seconds. Through the perimeter fence. 25 seconds. Toward the cliff edge. 20 seconds. They could see the gorge. 15 seconds. Dove behind rocks, covered ears. 10, 9, 8. The explosion shattered the valley. Multiple blasts, each high concentration cell rupturing, sound echoing off mountains, going on forever. Then silence, then alarms. German soldiers running, shouting, searchlights sweeping the compound, guards rushing toward the bridge, toward the roads, toward obvious escape routes. But the commandos were descending the cliff, the way they came. Germans didn't expect anyone to escape down a 600-foot vertical cliff in darkness. The escape Hans Meyer heard the explosion, spun around, saw flames inside the plant, raised the alarm, ran toward the building, other guards converging, officers shouting orders, search the perimeter, lock down the bridge, check all roads. Nobody thought to look at the cliff. Nobody even considered it. The cliff was impossible to climb. Therefore, nobody had climbed it. Therefore, the saboteurs must have come another way, must be escaping another way. By the time German commanders realized what had happened, the 11 Norwegians had descended the cliff, crossed the river, climbed the opposite side, disappeared into wilderness. Behind them, Vemork was chaos. All 18 cells destroyed, 500 kilograms of heavy water drained, 18 months of production gone. March 1st, March 18th, 1943. The team split up. Smaller groups, harder to track. They would rendezvous in Sweden, Runeberg, Strömsheim, and 2 others skied west, then north, 400 kilometers to the Swedish border, through occupied Norway, through mountains in winter. German forces searching, 3,000 soldiers deployed. They skied at night, hid during day, avoided roads, avoided villages, lived on emergency rations, melted snow for water, slept in snow caves, temperature dropping to -40. Strömsheim wore his glasses, the glasses he'd risked everything to retrieve. He needed them, every step. Without them, he couldn't see terrain features, couldn't identify threats, couldn't navigate. The glasses kept him alive. 17 days later, they crossed into Sweden, neutral territory, safe. All 11 commandos made it. Not one casualty, not one capture. The most successful special operations raid of World War II. The aftermath: German engineers assessed damage at Vemork. All 18 cells destroyed. Production stopped. Rebuilding would take 9 months minimum. The German nuclear program timeline was broken. Even if they rebuilt immediately, they couldn't get enough heavy water before 1945. And by 1945, the war would be over. The raid at Vemork had ended Germany's atomic bomb program. Epilogue. The teacher Joachim Runeberg returned to Norway after the war, worked in broadcasting, married, raised children, lived quietly. He rarely spoke about the raid. In 2013, aged 94, he returned to Vemork for the 70th anniversary. A reporter asked if he considered himself a hero. No, he said, I was a soldier doing a job. He died in 2018 at age 99. Birger Strömsheim became a school teacher, taught mathematics in Oslo for 35 years, wore thick glasses every day, cleaned them constantly. His students noticed this habit, thought it was quirky, sweet, the nice math teacher who loved his glasses. They never knew those glasses had once delayed a sabotage mission by 25 seconds. Never knew those seconds could have killed 11 men. Never knew their teacher had gone back into a building rigged with explosives because without those glasses, he was blind. Strömsheim never told them, never explained, just taught mathematics, cleaned his glasses, lived quietly. The glasses are in a museum now, Oslo, Resistance Museum, small display case, brass plaque, glasses belonging to Birger Strömsheim. Operation Gunnerside Commando, February 1943. Thousands of tourists walk past every year. They see glasses, just glasses they don't understand. Those glasses stopped Adolf Hitler from getting heavy water that would fuel a reactor that would produce plutonium that would build an atomic bomb. The chain is long but real. Glasses to mission success, to stopping production, to ending the German nuclear program. And it almost didn't happen. 25 seconds. That's how close it came to failure. 25 seconds of Strömsheim searching in darkness, finding what he needed, running back. Small things matter in war. A pair of glasses, 11 men who voted to climb an impossible cliff, the willingness to descend into a gorge because all other options were worse. Those small things changed history, saved thousands of lives, maybe millions. One man, one pair of glasses, 25 seconds. That's the difference between Hitler getting an atomic bomb and stopping the most dangerous weapons program of World War II. And when Birger Stromsheim died in 1995, they buried him with his glasses. The glasses he'd worn for 50 years after the war. The glasses he'd risked everything to retrieve. The glasses that had seen 400 kilometers of winter mountains. That had fogged in -40 cold. That had saved his life and possibly changed the course of human history. The obituary called him a beloved teacher, a patient mentor, a kind man who'd helped generations of students learn mathematics. It didn't mention Wehrmacht, didn't mention the 25 seconds, didn't mention the glasses in his pocket as explosives counted down. Because Stromsheim had never told anyone, had lived his entire life teaching children that small details matter, that precision matters, that checking your work twice matters. He'd learned that lesson on February 28, 1943, when forgetting something small almost killed 11 people, when going back for it saved everything. Small details matter. Sometimes they save the world.